big jump on the big board, the relief on Wall Street with new developments on the future of tariffs.
Your driver's license could soon stop you at a TSA checkpoint at an airport. We explain why you really need to care about the upcoming Real ID deadline. That's next.
If you're going to come here, come early.
Record heat on the way. What to know before you hit those trails. Plus, a gaming scam. How to avoid taking a gamble with fraudsters. And Uplifting Arizona, a program that's helping teens with special needs transition into the workforce. The big story today, some hope in the markets in response to what is next for tariffs. The opening bell is actually something to cheer for as stocks jumped on Wall Street. And we are seeing big gains on that big board with talks of negotiations of some trade tariffs. Nicole D'Antonio is tracking it all.
This morning, a big jump up on the big board. The Dow Jones opened 1,300 points higher. The other indexes also opened higher with hints of peace talks in the trade war. The Treasury Secretary at the White House this morning says nearly 70 countries approached the United States to negotiate President Trump's new tariffs.
You're starting to negotiate. How soon do you think we could see some deals be made?
Well, we have one of the Vietnamese officials coming in this week. The Japanese are very eager to get over, and I think you're going to see a couple of big trading partners do deals very quickly.
But China today vowing a fight to the end over trade tariffs. President Trump now threatening even more tariffs against China. The president vowing an additional 50% tariff if China does not step back from its 34% tariff on all imported U.S. goods.
With China, as you know, against my statement, they put a 34% tariff on above what their ridiculous tariffs were already. And I said, if that tariff isn't removed by tomorrow at 12 o'clock, we're putting a 50% tariff on above the tariffs that we put on.
This would bring the tariffs on China effectively to more than 100%. A spokesperson with the Chinese Ministry of Commerce calling the reciprocal tariffs a bullying practice. Some economists saying some of the mixed messaging is adding to the uncertainty in the financial markets.
Well, what we're seeing is the stock market look for any signs that this is a negotiating tool and not an end game when it comes to tariffs.
The Wall Street Journal says tech giant Apple is working on its own tariff workaround, planning to ship more iPhones from India to offset the high cost of shipping out of China. Nicole D'Antonio, ABC News, Washington.
We are gearing up for record heat here in the valley, but that will not be the case today. We are forecasting temperatures to eventually warm up into the 90s this afternoon, but right now we're tracking temperatures in the 80s throughout parts of the Phoenix metro area with just some passing high clouds that are not producing any rain, and that will not be the case for a while. So here's a look at your planner hour by hour. By 1 o'clock, we'll already be in the mid to upper 80s. 90 by about 2, and there's our forecast for this afternoon, 93 degrees, which is nearly 10 degrees above average for the early part of April. And it's going to get even hotter beyond today, with highs tomorrow in the upper 90s, and potentially by Thursday, our first 100-degree day of 2025. We'll tell you if that'll be a record high, along with the forecast for the rest of the week, coming up in your most accurate forecast.
Some of the other top stories that we're tracking right now, a new agreement for immigration enforcement here in the Valley. Avelo Airlines has agreed to support ICE immigration operations out of the Mesa Gateway Airport. They'll be chartering 3 737 planes to be used for deportation flights. Avelo is also working on establishing a base here in the Valley. An overnight crash sending 3 people to the hospital. Phoenix police tell us that they were investigating a vehicle with a stolen license plate. But moments later, that car then crashed into another car near 19th Avenue and Baseline. Everyone is expected to survive. The driver will be facing charges. Keeping you updated on the Lori Daybell trial. Today, she will be cross-examining a third witness, a Chandler firefighter. Our crew will be in the courtroom to bring you the very latest. And ABC15 will be live streaming this on ABC15.com.
You should do something right now, and I mean right now. Check your driver's license to see if it's Real ID compliant or not. We are less than a month away from that information really mattering and potentially impacting your next vacation. You can tell if your driver's license is Real ID compliant by looking at the top of it. If you see a star, you're fine. If you don't, well, you could soon encounter problems when you head to the airport. That's because beginning May 7th, TSA is expected to enforce the rule requiring a Real ID compliant ID in order to travel.
Travelers traveling without a Real ID compliant ID or another acceptable form of identification should be prepared to experience some delay at the TSA security checkpoints that will potentially impact their travel. Bottom line is that it's best to get your Real ID sooner rather than later so you don't risk missing your flight.
Now, we should be clear, there have been deadlines regarding this before. The original law that calls for Real ID was passed way back in 2005 after 9/11. But after nearly 20 years worth of delays regarding final implementation, it's believed this time the government is really serious. You might think that by now most Americans would have a Real ID. After all, states have had the process in place for years. But numbers do tell a different story. The TSA reported in recent weeks that only 80% of travelers passing through their security checkpoints use an acceptable form of ID going forward. That suggests many Americans are still traveling without a Real ID. Remember, if your driver's license isn't Real ID compliant, a passport would work just fine if you have to travel in the coming weeks and can't find an appointment at a local DMV. A number of DMVs across the country have reported long wait times because of the anticipated deadline ahead. Joe St. George, Scripps News Group, Washington.
For more than 4 decades now, Phoenix Children's has been a pillar in our community, providing high-quality care to families in need. So ahead of our annual telethon raising money for Phoenix Children's, our Javier Soto is meeting with 2 sisters whose special bond goes far beyond their shared diagnosis.
7-year-old Gwen and 5-year-old Lydia are as close as can be.
So your best friend? Yeah.
She's my sister.
Oh, okay.
The 2 sisters, although different like most siblings, share a similar blood disorder discovered when Gwen was a baby.
She was about 2 months old when she got diagnosed. She just looked really pale, and she was really fatigued. And I know like newborns are kind of sleep a lot anyway.
Diamond black fan anemia is a rare bone marrow disorder when the body can't produce enough red blood cells.
Her hemoglobin was 2.6, and she had to have 2 blood transfusions that day. She was in ICU, and then she goes back every 4 weeks and gets a blood transfusion. She's had like 100.
Mom Ashley describes being emotional after learning the lifelong diagnosis.
Well, her first year of life, it was super hard. I cried so much.
But Phoenix Children's has been able to guide them through this entire process, putting the family in contact with the right resources, and most importantly, making sure the kids are comfortable while being cared for.
What superhero were you?
Spidey Gwen. She really likes Spider-Man.
What do you do in the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse?
I have the boat at the hospital.
While Lydia doesn't require transfusions like her sister, the tough toddler receives her medication in a shot.
I didn't cry this time. Stop raining.
The girls are like any other kids, full of energy and love having fun. The family is just thankful they have PCH.
They just really care, and they have fun programs like Rainbow Kids, Child Life. Obviously, the girls in the fun center are always great. They come by and they make sure they're entertained while they're getting the IV or their labs drawn.
Javier Soto, ABC15, Arizona.
More than 170 programs are funded in part or entirely by donations, like the Child Life Zone, also known as the happiest place at the hospital. And you can donate to the zone and other essential programs by donating to the ABC15 telethon benefiting Phoenix Children's. It's tomorrow, Wednesday, April 9th, and we really hope that you'll tune in. A Scammler to tell you about. Coming up, are fraudsters taking a gamble to trick you? Plus, boosting the workforce, a program teaching teens some pretty important jobs.
Hikers hitting trails across the valley year-round, even in our summer months. I'm ABC 15's Nick Saletti. As we talk about the dangerous heat, we're diving deeper to see what the city is doing to make sure you stay safe here on our valley trails.
As we brace for the potential of record-breaking temperatures this week, ABC 15 is following up on our extreme heat coverage. And ABC 15 morning anchor Nick Saletti took a trip to Camelback Mountain to listen to hikers there about what their concerns are.
So we know trails like Camelback are popular year-round, even in our dangerous heat. So we wanted to know what the city is doing to make sure people stay safe. The valley's majestic mountains. They're hard to resist, but as the temperatures climb, so too do the risks.
If you're going to come here, come early.
Bradley Sinclair hikes Camelback 5 times a week and never hits the trail unprepared.
What do you love so much about Camelback? It's a great workout, and it allows you to get a great workout on before the sunset even comes up.
But he told me in March during our coverage of the record-breaking heat, he had concerns about other hikers, especially tourists, not knowing what they're up against here on Camelback.
They bring 1 bottle of water, and now you're starting at 9 or 10, you're in 100-degree heat, you have no water, and bad things happen.
Now, before you start hiking here on the Echo Canyon side of Camelback, there are signs posted, like this one says, turn around before your water is halfway gone. And then this one actually rates the trail. It says it is extremely difficult, but despite the signs, some people are still missing the warning.
I still remember the first day on this earth without him, and I've never been the same since.
For Chelsea McHale,
I wanted to share my message.
No sign is more important than this one.
I mean, it's been 14 years this year of without him and with me advocating.
It's dedicated to the memory of her older brother Clint, who died in 2011 after falling 50 feet here on Camelback while hiking off trail without the proper equipment. Where does that strength come from?
I had to make purpose out of it. I had to make meaning because I struggled.
I've interviewed Chelsea several times over the past decade and wanted to follow up to learn more about how she's advocating to keep people safe.
Because it's finally starting, Nick, because I've talked about this before, and I think I just had to take that initiative and take charge and just do it.
Chelsea now volunteers with the city of Phoenix and is even bringing her message of hiking safety to the classroom, going into schools to educate the youngest of hikers.
I think they're seeing that out of tragedy came opportunity, and I'm really excited to see what's to come.
So for a full list of the rules and regulations and ways that you can stay safe while hiking and enjoying our amazing trails across the valley, just head to the main page of ABC15.com. Reporting here on Camelback, Nick Saletti, ABC 15, Arizona.
Shortly, we're talking about the first 100s of the year later this week. I'll tell you exactly when in your most accurate forecast.
I'm ABC 15 meteorologist Jorge Torres, and at Keller Elementary in Mesa, students are showing that they're learners today and leaders tomorrow. As part of KidCasters, they got on-hand experience forecasting, allowing stepping up to the mic and delivering the weather, just like us right here at ABC 15.
At Keller Elementary in Mesa, students aren't just studying the weather, they're stepping up to the mic and making forecasts of their own.
Today, we have some special visitors on campus. They will be in the media center.
It's all part of ABC 15's KidCasters program, bringing hands-on meteorology into the classroom. And for these students, weather isn't just another subject, it's a real-world skill.
Studying the weather is part of our 4th grade curriculum. So students were really excited. Teachers were really excited to be able to have somebody who actually knows about weather and works with weather come in and talk to the students.
Hi, my name is Ryan. It might be cloudy because it's sunny and there's going to be
clouds.
including one student who's ready to take my job.
Remember, you're the 110s.
If they're looking to hire, you've got somebody who's ready to take over. He's ready.
He was very ready, very eager. Which one would you prefer?
Keller Elementary is unique. It's a dual language immersion school where students learn in both English.
Hi, my name is Elias from Keller Elementary in Mesa.
And Spanish.
Las temperaturas máximas de hoy estarán en los 70s.
The goal of dual language is to build students who are, by the time they finish in 6th grade, they are bilingual, biliterate, and bicultural.
Yes?
Beyond learning about weather, today's experience helps students see new career possibilities.
You probably planted the seed today for some of our students who are our future scientists, future mathematicians, and they get to see how their favorite subject applies to something in the real world.
And for these young learners, today wasn't just about the forecast, it was about their future. For ABC15 Kidcasters, I'm meteorologist Jorge Torres.
The kids from Keller were a great bunch indeed there in the East Valley, where temperatures today will climb into the 90s. In fact, we're close to that already, but by noon we'll be at 85 degrees with abundant sunshine already, 90 at 2, and there's our forecast today, 93 degrees, which is nearly 10 degrees above normal for early April, and it's going to get even hotter the rest of the week. But as far as today, enjoy the outdoors. Use plenty of sunscreen, though, because the UV index will be at 8, meaning that sunburn time sets in at about 15 minutes or so. And, of course, stay hydrated with plenty of water and electrolytes, too. In the East Valley, there in Mesa, forecasting a high of 93. Same in Gilbert and Chandler, 94 today there as you head toward areas in eastern parts of Maricopa County. 93 in Queen Creek, 92 in Santan Valley with overnight lows in the upper 50s. AJ, you'll be at 91, 92 in Fountain Hills and Paradise Valley, and Ahwatukee at 92 and 93 respectively. In the West Valley, we'll keep highs anywhere from 89 as you head toward Wickenburg to 92 in Surprise, 93 in Peoria. Meanwhile, in Glendale, we'll be at 92 with overnight lows in the low to mid 60s. And as you head toward the West Valley there, far West Valley, specifically in Buckeye, calling for a high of 94. Same in Goodyear. Northern Arizona, highs today in the mid 60s for areas like Flagstaff. Lower 70s in Heber and Cholo, and close to 80 today in Sedona. Will be right at 80 in Winslow. And across Mojave County, highs staying in the lower 90s from Bullhead City to Lake Cavazos City, too. And in southern Arizona, there at the Old Pueblo, highs just shy of 90 degrees. With lows tonight dropping into the mid-50s. Up north, staying above freezing, in fact, in Flagstaff, down to 34, below freezing along the south rim at 30, 53 in Kingman, and 60s as you head along the Colorado. Our first 100s, though, of the year are anticipated as early as Saturday, well ahead of the average, which is typically in early May, not early April, but we're still behind the all-time record, which fell on March 26, 1988. So here's what we're anticipating regarding record heat. Thursday, 101. Friday, 102. And Saturday, 100 degrees. So 3 consecutive days of triple-digit heat anticipated beginning Thursday. Today, though, 93. Tomorrow, close to 100, calling for a high of 98. 101 Thursday, 102 Friday. As I mentioned, those will be record highs with lows around 70. And then we start to cool things down a little bit beginning Saturday, so at 100. 93 on Sunday, but turning breezy. So fire danger after the heat will ramp up across the state this weekend.
Scammers are betting on you to fall victim. I'm Christelle Bell with a warning about the dangers of fake online casinos. It's a game you don't want to play.
We received about 5 or 6 different casinos across of Arizona that were being impersonated online.
Imposters using legitimate Arizona and tribal casinos to cash in.
Through social media, advertisements, online, etc.
Fake, unregulated gaming sites are mimicking branding and logos and using enticing promotions.
Offering risk-free betting or free play.
And scammers are betting you'll buy in.
Online casino gaming or iGaming is not legal in the state.
Simply put, just because you download an app and play the game, it doesn't mean it's legitimate.
But when it comes to online casino gambling, this is going to be offering like slot machines, table games, just any type of casino gaming you would see in a real legitimate casino, but online.
All right, I want you to be skeptical of these offers because these sites are not regulated and the stakes are high if you fall victim.
Providing bank account information or credit card information for your accounts is obviously one risk, and then personal information.
Before placing a bet in Arizona,
the Arizona Department of Gaming recently launching a new digital campaign to warn consumers about the dangers of these sites. Before you roll the dice, verify the legitimacy of the gaming platform at the ADG's website. Check for incorrect URLs and misspellings on the apps and websites. Do not share your personal information on unverified sources. If you do come across one of these imposter platforms, report it.
Document the URL, the app name, and any promotional offers, I guess, that they get.
Bottom line, before you bet, you better check. We've put more information and a link to report illegal platforms online at abc15.com/consumer. I'm Christelle Bell. What's your consumer problem? Let ABC 15 know.
But we will have much more to come in our next half hour, including the fight over fluoride, the debate in Washington that could impact your health. Plus, setting students up for success inside a program to boost the number of jobs in manufacturing.
I'm ABC 15 education reporter Eleni Dow. We're out on the farm here showcasing a Higley Unified program that helps special ed students gain some life skills.